So I was looking for fastball.
High fly ball, hit deep to right field, way back, maybe, going, gone, home run!
With one sudden swing, the Mets had drawn even. But just as suddenly, they again fell behind in the next inning. The score remained 5-4 Astros until the bottom of the ninth, when Wally Backman led off with a drag bunt. The Astros contended that Backman ran out of the base path, but the umpires disagreed. And after Houston manager Hal Lanier lost his argument, Backman went to second on a wild pitch. Knowing full well that the Mets needed a hit to tie, General Manager Frank Cashin and the rest of the Shea Stadium crowd waited uneasily as Lenny Dykstra stepped to the plate to face the Astros' Dave Smith with one out and the tying run at second.
Lenny Dykstra, the man they call Nails on the Mets ball club, is waiting. Now the pitch. And a high fly ball hit to right field. It is fairly deep. It's way back by the wall. He did it! It's a home run! A home run! The Mets win the ball game. Dykstra hits a home run. Lynn Dykstra hit a home run. This ball game is over. Lenny Dykstra being mobbed by his teammates.
I was very happy. I had my rally hat on my den. I jumped up and I gave a high five to my brother. It was great.
Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!
Unfortunately for the Mets, the happiness of the previous afternoon was wiped out quickly by Mike Scott in Game 4. As he did in the first game, Scott continued his mastery over the Mets, who by now seemed more concerned about the possibility that Scott threw a scuffed ball than they did about hitting the pitch. Any way you looked at it, Scott was simply too tough, and the series was tied at 2 games each after the Astros' 3-1 win. The Astros' win in Game 4 had guaranteed them a trip back home to Houston, and after rain postponed Game 5 for a day, the Mets took the field knowing that a win was an absolute necessity. On the mound for the Mets was their ace, Dwight Gooden, who pitched brilliantly for 10 innings, giving up just 1 run. But Gooden's effort was matched by the ageless Nolan Ryan, who pitched brilliantly himself.
He has retired every batter to face him, and we're now in the 5th inning. 13 consecutive hitters have been set down. Drive hit hard down the right field line. It may go foul. Watching, and it's a fair ball. Home run! Home run!
From that point on, the tension at Shea was nearly unbearable. As the two teams staged an epic battle, no one could break through. No one could deliver the one clutch hit that would turn the series in their favor. In the 11th, the Mets took Gooden out and brought in Jesse Orosco. And as he did in his Game 3 win, Orosco shut down the Astros with little trouble, this time in the 11th and 12th. Finally, in the bottom of the 12th, the Mets broke through. But it took a mistake by reliever Charlie Kerfeld to get them going. With Wally Backman on first, Kerfeld threw away a pickoff attempt and Backman scrambled to second. The next batter was to be Keith Hernandez, but there was little chance he would get to hit, especially with Gary Carter mired in a horrendous postseason slump.
The intentional walk, and I'm saying this is the ideal situation to break him out.
Kid is definitely a money player. I wanted him, Keith or Gary, to be up there in that situation with somebody that's in scoring position.
The most important thing is to keep your head up and try and maintain the confidence. And 1 for 21. I mean, I'm not getting an 050 hitter.
And a ground ball, base hit through the middle. Backman around third. Backman coming home. The throw. He scores. The Mets win. The Mets win.
So the Mets went back to Houston for Game 6 and brought a few fans with them.
Let's go Mets! Tonight's the night!
Who's going to win tonight?
I think the Astros.
Astros?
Nah, come on.
Mets.
Meanwhile, back in New York, it seemed like the whole city was watching the game, although no one rooting for the Mets could have been very encouraged after the Astros exploded for 3 runs in the bottom of the first. Once again, the Mets were having trouble scoring runs, and this time Bob Knepper was the reason why. Right from the start, Knepper frustrated the Mets, and as each inning passed and the Astros held on to their lead, the Mets were left to wonder whether or not they might ever get another hit. By the time the 9th inning rolled around, there was little reason to believe that the Mets would solve the mystery of Knepper.
Mets have had only 2 hits. Game 7 would be tomorrow night. The pitchers would be Ron Darling and Mike Scott.
But suddenly, with the Rally Caps back in New York working their magic, the Mets erupted.
And a high fly hit the right center field. On the run, on the run, on the run. Hatcher, Dykstra around second, racing for third. He's in standing with a triple. Infield back, the Astros have a 3-run lead. And a soft line drive to second, base hit. Dykstra in to score. It's 3-1. The tying run will be coming to bat. The pitch. And a fly ball, well hit the right center. Billy Hatcher on the run, way back. Can't get it, base hit, over his head. Wilson around third. Mookie will score. 3-2, and the tying run on second. A pitching change will be made. Dave Smith is coming on in relief. The pitch. Fly ball, well hit the right center field. The game will be tied up. Hernandez will score. Tie ball game. Ray Knight has tied it up.
As Game 6 moved into extra innings, Roger McDowell pitched 5 scoreless innings to keep the game tied until the Mets finally went ahead in the 14th.
Mets looking for the biggest hit of the year right here. And a line drive base hit. Going into right field. Strawberry will try to score. Here's the throw coming to the plate. He scores. The Mets have taken the lead.
The pennant was just 3 outs away, but the Astros' Billy Hatcher wouldn't cooperate.
4-3 New York, bottom half of the 14th inning. Now the pitch on the way. And a high fly deep to left, down the line. It may go foul, waiting. It hits the screen. Tie ball game, home run.
I said to myself, it's a home run. There's nothing I can do about it. The game's not over and we haven't lost, so I'm still in it. And I still had 2 more guys to get out that inning.
Orozco got those 2 guys. And then in the 16th, with no out and Darryl Strawberry on second, Ray Knight came to the plate.
I asked him, I said, do you want me to butt him over or you want me to drive him in or what? And he says, I want you to hit the ball to right field and drive him in. So I never thought of anything but hitting it to right field.
Line drive, base hit to right field. Strawberry may have trouble scoring. The throw is coming in, won't get him. The run is in. Knight to second base. The Mets are in front, 5-4.
The Mets scored twice more in the top of the 16th to lead 7-4, but the Astros rallied once again, scoring 2 runs off a tired Jesse Orozco to cut the Mets' lead to 1. Then, with 2 out and the tying and winning runs on base, Orozco had to face the dangerous Kevin Bass.
I said to myself, if I walk him, I still have a left-handed batter up next. That could be to my advantage. I wasn't going to give in or anything, but I said to myself, I have a chance. I'll try to get him, but I'm going to throw breaking balls.
This is heart-stopping baseball, pulsating baseball. Nobody has sat down in the last 4 or 5 innings. Incredible. Now the stretch. The pitch on the way. Swing and a miss! Swing and a miss! Struck him out! Struck him out! Mets win it! The Mets have won it. They're in the World Series. Oh, they are mobbing Jesse Orozco.
So it was on to the World Series, which kicked off with a star-studded gala party the night before the first game. The next day began the more serious business of crowning a world champion. Shea Stadium, of course, was peppered with celebrities who, along with everyone else, anticipated a classic matchup between the Mets and the Boston Red Sox, the 2 teams that most experts considered the best in baseball. Like the Mets, the Sox too had just completed a dramatic and exhausting playoff series. But when the game got underway, it was the Mets who seemed the worse for wear. Part of the reason was Bruce Hurst, who very neatly tied the Mets up in knots all night long. Fortunately for the Mets, they were getting good pitching too. Ron Darling rebounded from his shaky playoff performance of a week earlier and kept the score even by shutting out the Sox through 6 innings. But in the 7th, with Jim Rice on second, the Sox got a break.
Edmonds steps in with 1 down. The pitch, ground ball to second. Tuffle has it go between his legs. Strawberry picks it up. Here comes Rice. Throw coming to the plate to Carter, not in time. Throw to second, not in time. Red Sox lead.
That lone run was the difference, as the Sox won the series opener. The next night, the Stars were really out at Shea. First, Billy Joel sang the national anthem, and then Dwight Gooden faced off against Roger Clemens in a classic duel between 2 of the hardest throwers in baseball. But the anticipated matchup between Gooden's smoke and Clemens' fire turned out to be a false alarm, as the Sox pounded out 18 hits in a 9-3 drubbing of the Mets to go up 2-0. Only once before had a team come back to win a series after losing the first 2 games at home. So as the series shifted to Boston, the Mets had their backs to the wall in more ways than one. But the '86 Mets were a team of character, and one could almost sense that things were about to change as Lenny Dykstra led off the game.
Well hit fly ball down the right field line. Will it stay fair? If it does, it's gone. There it goes. Home run. Home run for Len Dykstra. Line drive toward the gap, left center field. Base hit rolling all the way back to the wall. Paxton is coming home. Hernandez is going to third. Carter to second. 4 consecutive hits. 2-0 New York. Now the stretch by Oil Can, the pitch.